Good afternoon and welcome to Markets Today. I'm your host, Mbithe Muema. It's one of those cold and not very exciting days. We will be looking at the turnover, what happened at the market yesterday. We'll also be looking at currency and to see what happened there. But also of interest, Cooperative Bank and NIC announced their numbers. We'll be giving you an overview of how those numbers are looking and whether the industry is doing better or worse than it was a year ago. Sanlam also announced its numbers as well as Crown Paints. Their numbers came out. We will be giving a brief of that. And also for your information, across the sub-Saharan capital markets, the key decision that we're waiting for today is from Egypt. The central bank is meeting and the MPC will be taking a decision on its overnight rate. Analysts think they could adjust this by 100 percentage points upward, but the vote is still out on that. So we'll be keeping an update on that. And the interesting thing there is there's been a lot of interest from the foreigners with regards to the debt markets. And then finally, what we'll also be talking about is Homes Africa, a company that has listed and has been giving people access to real estate opportunities. How have the financials been looking over the last couple of years? What have you made money or lost money as a shareholder? But more importantly, what is happening in the real estate sector? Where are the opportunities and what do you need to look out for? But first, we take a look at the NSE. Yesterday, volumes were down about 70% day on day. 263 million was traded from slightly over 1 billion that was traded the day before. We had started seeing a bit of excitement, especially on Safaricom, ahead of its book closure for the end of year dividend, which is 1.97. That's that includes a special dividend and the normal dividend of 1.25. And we're beginning to see a bit of excitement and shareholders, or rather foreign investors, actually buying into the stock. Now, the record date for this Safaricom dividend is 2nd of September. So we think there'll still be a bit more room for a rally as people try to pile into the stock and see if they can be able to accumulate the dividend that is being paid. That said, today has been slightly muted. Moving on to the financials that have come through. Banks have been announcing, Stanbic has announced, KCB has announced, Equity Bank has announced. Overnight, we have seen the numbers come out from Cooperative Bank and NIC. They don't look very strong. Cooperative Bank has actually posted 5% growth in profit after tax to about 10.8 billion. There's been no growth when it comes to the net interest income, which is the funds that they receive from the loans that have been extended. The growth of this, the bulk of the growth has actually come from fees and commission. So we're seeing a lot of movement into mobile banking and then a lot of transaction fees that's loaded onto this product. And that's really how the banks are making money. Of also important interest is for Cooperative Bank. The loan loss provisioning charge grew by a single-digit number. We've seen triple-digit and double-digit growth in some of the banks that have already announced. So that was something that was interesting. So really flat numbers, not too much happening there. They are not extending credit. Credit was actually down about 2 percentage points over the last 1 year. This bank will actually be hosting an investor briefing tomorrow where management will be speaking to the investment community to help understand what is happening, what is driving. I would be very curious to know who are they lending to? Is there demand for this credit? And what is their sense of the economy and how this looks like over the next 12 months? Switching gears, NIC Bank also announced numbers. Now for this one, there was actually no growth. It was actually 5 percentage points lower than it was last year. And this came at the tail end of the merger between them and CBA. Looks like there was an increased provisioning charge that came in the double digits, about 30% year-on-year growth on the provisioning charge that went through the income statement. Overall, the banks are not growing the lower first-tier banking sector to the second-tier banking sector. They're not extending credit out there. The converse is KCB and Equity. We had seen double-digit growth. KCB reported about 20% growth in their loans. For this other smaller banks, we've seen actually minus 2 to 5 percentage points drop with regards to credit that is being extended to the private sector. But we have seen a growth on the money that is actually being extended to the government with regards to bonds and the T-bill market. So we will be looking to see what are these banks, what are the managers at these banks, see what are the potential risks, and really, is there any upside for you? Anytime we have this conversation, the names that keep coming up every time and over again, KCB and Equity. It's better to play safe by the banks that are already giving you a very good dividend yield, that are trading closer to book. Certainly KCB is doing much better than Equity Bank is doing. But the jury is out and we will give you an update tomorrow following the investor briefing that Cooperative Bank will be holding. Now, let's take a look at Homes Africa. We have the financials just behind me. Okay, so we have the book value there, and we've stretched back to 2011, and we're seeing a negative book value there. of about 1 billion shillings. So we will be discussing with the CEO just to understand what has been the trajectory of the financials over the last 5 to 7 years, and really what is the opportunity there. But today we really want to just focus real estate. It's certainly a very interesting asset class that many people want to invest in, either in terms of getting buildings or actually acquiring land and really creating a land bank and seeing the opportunity there. I am not the expert, but we have Mr. Dan Awendo, who is the CEO of Home Africa. He will be helping us demystify the opportunity in Home Africa as an investment opportunity listed on the NSE and how that journey has been, and as well as help us demystify the opportunity outside there with regards to the real estate sector and how you can actually take part either in collaboration with him and his company or by yourself. We take a short break looking at the commodity prices. Don't go anywhere. And remember, we are always streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube on the Metropole TV channel. Give us a tweet if you're watching us. Ask us, what would you like to know from Mr. Dan Awendo? We will see you shortly.